Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Achusi Amarachuku, also known as Mara Blossom, and I'm the moderator for this panel session. It's a pleasure to actually be moderating this important discussion on stablecoins and how stablecoins are powering the new Pan-African economy. And we all know that stablecoins have moved from being just a random crypto asset to being the lifeline of remittance, treasury solutions, and payments across Africa. And I have an incredible panel of speakers, founders, operators, and builders who are building some of the most impactful stablecoin-based applications or platforms in Africa. I'll just give them 1 minute to introduce themselves, and then we'll start.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Adeola Adeshina. I head the marketing team at CNGN or RAP CBDC, the CNGN issuing company. I also head investments at Olorue Corporation, where we're Web3 focused venture arm. What else do I do? I think that's it.
A round of applause for him, please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Seun, Lanlege, and I'm the co-founder of Ifalabs. We're the developers of Hyperbridge, which is a decentralized cross-chain bridge.
A round of applause, please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Esther, Omena, and I'm a community manager and the regional ambassador for Noble. So Noble is a purpose-built blockchain for stablecoin issuance on Cosmos. So what I mean is that we provide the rail for stablecoins, for regulated and trusted stablecoins to actually flow across ecosystems, across borders. So that's that.
Hi guys, I'm Israel, head of growth at Paycrest. Paycrest is a decentralized open source payment routing protocol. It's multi-chain. We help businesses move money across border. Thank you.
Thank you so much. A round of applause for them, please. So I'll be starting with you, Esther. Please hold your mic. So a lot of remittance corridors in Africa actually remain costly and efficient. Yeah, so my question is this. In your view, what role can stablecoins play in fundamentally reducing these costs across the African continent?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. So let me start by saying that in Africa, money does not move in theory. It moves in reality. So what I mean is that taking an instance from the businesswoman that sells in, what's the name of this market? Valuable Market, and down to the freelancers that are here, you see that they offer services online and they get paid online. So this is where stablecoins and Noble especially comes into it. So Noble being this blockchain that a purpose-built blockchain that stablecoins are being issued. So you see that Noble is built on ultra low cost, speed, and interoperability. So what this means is that Noble is built on the Cosmos SDK, which makes it really modular and fast. So when you are sending crypto or stablecoins, it is really fast and it is instant. So let's say you are sending, either you are sending $1 or $10,000, right? So the experience feels instant and really, really affordable. So, and also Noble uses the instant finality, which means that the moment you click send, transactions are final and they are irreversible. So taking that Noble has already empowered stablecoins like USDN, USDC, EURE. So you see that these stablecoins, they flow seamlessly across borders. So let's say that someone in Lagos now can now receive dollar instantly from abroad without having to pay like the 10 to or 8 to 10% remittance fees that are common today. So aside that, even let's not even talk about the USDN, which is the yield-bearing stablecoin, right? So the fact that it uses that Cosmos SDK, which makes transactions very fast. And we know that this is a critical feature when you talk about real money payments in Africa. So being able to send transactions now, sending payments to someone and in less than a second, they've gotten it. So I feel like that's how we can solve that.
Thank you very much. Sorry for interrupting the panel, but I was just informed that one of our panelists is available again in person of Kendrick Ifalabs. Please, a round of applause for him as he comes on stage. Thank you so much.
So we move on to the next speaker. Hi, Israel. Please, can you pass the mic? So,
Hi.
stablecoin platforms like Paycrest are actually reshaping how remittances work in Africa. So, how has Paycrest reduced remittance costs and settlement delays compared to traditional financial models?
All right. So I had a talk about 30, 45 minutes ago, and I made mention of something. I said, when you see most remittance platforms, not just remittance platform, global money movement platforms, there are 4 key things that you judge them by, right? You look at security, you look at speed, you look at cost and ease, right? And most times, it's very difficult to see a player scoring or playing at the 99th percentile across these 4 key pillars of global money transfer. Now, what we did, we took down these 4 pillars and we analyzed it. Now, when you look at cost, even if you are moving money through stable coins, at the end of the day, when you want to off-ramp to a fiat, that money is still there's still going to be a last mile payout. And that is where most of the cost comes in. Because you're probably going to be using a PSP, right, to off-ramp to fiat, to go to the lab, maybe your grandmother in the village. Now, what we do at Paycrest is that we integrate with the lowest possible PSP. So, for example, we all know Flutterwave charge 1.4% plus another fee. Integrating with Flutterwave means our sender businesses will have a higher rate. Do you get? So what we do is that we focus on integrating with the lowest, the microfinance bank in Ghana, the microfinance bank in Kenya, right? And focus on the mainstream banks, deposit money banks. If we can get partnership with UBA, that their rate will be the lowest. So that at the end of the day, when you look at the supply chain of the money, when it moves from after the off-ramping, when it moves to the final person, you study as the money is, you study how the money moves. We make sure that integration happens so that the sender business, after topping up his own fee, is still able to have a decent rate. So we're very intentional about our architecture to make sure that people that build on Paycrest are able to have a healthy rate to present to their users by that integration.
Thank you so much. You mentioned something about PSP. What's that?
Payment service providers.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Kendrick, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Right. So, as a Nigerian founder building an African stablecoin-based platform, right? Building for Nigeria is often the starting point, but Africa is actually vast and diverse, right? Now, how do you approach scaling into less served African markets while still serving your Nigerian base?
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kendrick, and I'm building Ifalabs. So let me quickly introduce Ifalabs before I answer your question.
Go ahead.
So Ifalabs is a multi-chain Oracle infrastructure for stablecoins, basically, right? So look at it like a chain link for stablecoins in emerging markets, right? So the initial problem, the critical gap that we saw in the system was that most of these emerging stablecoins, they do not have price data, right? And when you go to Chainlink, for instance, you want to have your own price feed on Chainlink. There are certain requirements from Chainlink, and it runs into, for instance, $5 million in volume, transacted volume for your emerging stablecoin. So you that are just starting, I like to make reference to CNGN, for instance. CNGN is emerging, and you're asking CNGN to, process $5 million a day in transaction for it to, have its own feed on Chainlink. That's almost impossible, right? So what our service is doing is we are trying to like fill this gap and provide data for stablecoins in emerging markets. So it cuts across CNGN, ZRP, BRZ, emerging stablecoins, basically. Please, could you run over the question again?
I asked, how do you approach scaling into less served African markets while still serving your Nigerian base?
Products.
Yes.
Okay. So there's this saying that when you're building, you build locally before you scale globally, right? Over the years, one thing I realized about, the typical Nigerian economy is the larger percentage of the population, they're still in the dark. They don't know what crypto is. And, for the few percentage of people that know what crypto is, they only know that what they know about crypto is, oh, I just want to put my money, and when it goes up, take out the money, right? Most people are not harnessing the power of crypto, like the power of the blockchain, real world utility, what you can do with it. So oftentimes, I love to go with the approach of education, because most of the blockchain products, they are relatively new, and if you are building for the people, you have to meet your customers where they are. You don't expect your customers to come meet you where you are, right? So I often advise people to sort of like incorporate, education into your product to educate these people. So once you have that figured out, once you've successfully catered for the local audience, the typical Nigerians in this case, you can then now consider scaling globally. Right.
Thank you so much for that. So over to you, Seun. Now, regulators often remain cautious about stablecoins, cryptocurrency in general, especially here in Nigeria, right? So should African governments embrace them as tools for financial inclusion, or are regulators right to take a guarded approach?
I think stablecoins are going to take over finance, whether or not regulators like this. And they are already taking over finance, right? Like we're seeing Chainalysis report that over like 100 and something billion dollars of transaction volume in stablecoins can be attributed to sub-Saharan Africa. And you have to understand that the government has taken an anti-crypto stance for the past 3 years. So their efforts are clearly not working, right? So I think the question, and a lot of people talk about this, that, oh no, crypto should espouse and crypto should seduce the regulatory framework. No, I don't think so. I think the regulatory framework has to understand how they can continue to be relevant in this new crypto era, right? And so, we build at Politolabs, we're building infrastructure for stablecoins to allow stablecoins to be available across multiple different networks. I believe that this gives people who hold these stablecoins greater freedom so that they're not necessarily locked into a single network. And this is essentially why they adopt stablecoins, right? Because they want that freedom. They want that freedom from the existing financial systems that limit you to what, $100 in foreign transaction volume per day, or they just close your account if they feel like. I mean, I recently sent money to my Alat account. I haven't used it in a while. I sent like 200K, and they blocked it. They said I need to come to the bank and come and tell them where I got this money from. It's ridiculous. And so this is why people are using stablecoins, right? You receive money on chain. You don't owe anyone any explanation. You do whatever you want. Your business is unconstrained. And I believe that the tools that we are building locally, CNGN being one of them, Paycrest being another one of them, are going to really supercharge people's financial abilities to be able to trade and do business with the rest of the world.
Thank you so much for that. I love what you said about giving freedom and power to people. Yeah, so to you, Adeola, right? Now, global stablecoins like USDT and USDC are actually dominating the market. But CNGN actually brings a locally regulated Naira-backed narrative, which is actually new. So what does CNGN offer that global stablecoins don't, especially for Nigerians and Africans?
All right, thank you. I would answer your question, but I would want to contribute to Seun's response. I think, disclaimer, I'm not an APC supporter, because that's what you would think, right?
Okay.
But I think we don't give enough credit to this government like we should. And credit to guys like Siban and the work that they are doing, because it takes a lot of advocacy. Stable coins are being used in Nigeria for payments. So if you use PalmPay, I don't want to name drop anymore, but intra-country payments, switch and processing is being used by stable coins. You all know the Zone network. Zone network uses stable coins to process transfers. So if you use Bell Bank, does anyone use Bell Bank here? If you use Bell Bank, all of those transactions are processed by stablecoin. It's just not CNGN, and their stablecoin is just not popular, right? So I think we do not give enough credit to this government. It's slow, right? The progress is very slow, not very visible, but it's better than the last one, right? Now, back to your question. We've got a lot of criticisms at CNGN over the last 1 month. And I say that those criticisms are out of ignorance a lot of times, but people are allowed to be ignorant. They say stuff like, and very stupid stuff like, we have USDC. We have, why should we hold CNGN? And I'm like, you can see stable coins 2 different ways, right? Stable coins are a store of value, right? So because most of us receive our grants in USDC and USDT, we tend to see stable coins like a store of value. Yes, it is a store of value. But stable coins, on the other hand, are the fastest financial rail in the world, right? So things like transfers, cross-border remittance, no one beats stable coins at being a financial rail, right? So we're trying to position stable coins as a financial rail, not as a store of value. So it's okay if you don't want to hold CNGN because we inherit the problem of the Naira and we cannot do anything about it, right? It's okay for you not to hold CNGN, but for you to now start to down-talk CNGN and FUD CNGN because of microeconomic functions, that's just plain bullshit, right? CNGN works as a financial rail. We power transactions intra-country or inter-country and across countries, right? So you cannot throw away baby with the bathtub just because you cannot see the underlying function that it brings. See what I'm saying?
Thank you so much for that. A round of applause for him, please. So for the sake of time, I'm actually going to be taking the last general question. Now, just like Seun said, regulations, stablecoins are actually gaining traction very fast. Now, in 5 years, do you believe that Africans will hold more value in stable coins than in local banks? And if yes, what does that mean for the future of African banking? Let's start with you, Adeola.
Do I believe that? Sorry, can you?
Do you believe that Africans will hold more value in stable coins?
I do not know. But what I know is that in 10 years, every country in the world will have its own stable coin. What I know is that in 10 years, countries will start to trade with each other more in stable coins than in fiat currencies, right? So it means that whether you like it or not, you would use a stable coin. At the end of the day, stable coins would be used at the background more than being held, right? So most of you are going to use stable coins without knowing that you're using stable coins, right? So in 10 years, intra-African trade will get easier, and we love that our guys at Interstellar and PAPS are already powering this with their PAPS system where you can send money right now from a bank in Nigeria to a bank in Ghana, and a lot of these things are going to run, stable coins. So all the African countries in 10 years, I can foresee will have a stable coin. We are talking to a couple of central banks across Africa, and everyone is willing to. US took the lead, right? So once US moves, everyone wants to move. So it's going to happen.
I think we're going to have a Kenyan stablecoin very soon.
There is actually 2 Kenyan shilling stablecoins right now.
Okay.
No, I'm just going to re-echo what Adeola said. And yes, for sure, it's inevitable that all currencies will be tokenized, to some extent. How they're used is entirely up to the people who are using them, right? Like, it's entirely up to the countries where they're adopted. I would actually make a more bolder statement, which is that we're most likely going to see a significant percentage of every country's money supply tokenized than the actual fiat supply, right? So, let's look at some fundamental facts. you have money in your bank, right? A lot of us here had, Naira accounts, and we all saw what happened, right? Like, we all lost access to MasterCard, Visa, and now we could only make transactions locally. Maybe they brought that back. I don't know what happened there. But in that meantime, imagine if you had a business that relied on you being able to make payments abroad. Okay, I need some. The government is always saying, oh, we want to vitalize like manufacturing. But you can't have everything that you need for manufacturing locally, right? You have to import stuff. This is a good lesson from the trade war earlier in this year. No one is an island. You need to import stuff. You need to import raw material. You need to import machinery, whatever the case may be. Now you no longer have access to that because what? The government decided that maybe you guys should stay poor or something. But with stablecoins, people are able to make trade internationally, right? They're able to settle and receive funds. And imagine if we didn't have that. Imagine if crypto didn't exist. Our GDP would be way less than it currently is. So stablecoin adoption is only going to go up. The tokenization percentage of every country's currency is also only going to go up. I think people are going to lose faith in banks. So to completely answer your question, what does that mean for banks? I think banks are going to take a step back and stablecoin issuers actually become the new banks. So maybe banks are only providing credit facilities, I guess that's what they've always done. But when it comes to like actual, holding of money and transaction of money, blockchains and stablecoins in combination become the new banking infrastructure because of that permissionlessness, because of that like ownership that it really gives you. And also it just makes life much easier. I mean, I'm sure you all understand what I'm talking about.
Thank you so much for that.
Okay, for me, I might not say that 5 years is the time, but what I know is that it has already started and it's not even something we can fight. And every day you see that the adoption is taking place, small. I remember a day someone was like, Zara, I said, just come and buy from me. I was like, I don't have that. I don't have Naira. So like, I take USDT. I was shocked. And I thought it was a joke. She sent wallet address, right? And now she had to force me to buy what I didn't want to buy. Right.
You already said you don't have Naira.
So it has already started, right? And I feel like it's not something to fight. It's not competition. It's just about collaboration. They are not here to replace our traditional monetary system. They are just here to strengthen it. They will strengthen trade. They are going to strengthen on-chain savings too. Because take, for instance, when I got to know about USD, and that's the novel dollar, right? So I got to understand that I deposit money as USDC with hope that they are helping me to fight inflation, right? But then Circle decides to carry this USDC and invest it in treasury bonds, right? And now they make 5% on my money. Me, I'm happy that they're giving me stability, but they're making money from me too. Now, Noble now flips it by pushing this yield back to the users. So you are holding USDN and they are giving you yield for holding USDN. So you are providing stability for me. You're also giving me money too, right? So that is why it's called the dollar that pays you for holding it. So the fact that I'm holding USD, you are also empowering me. So my money is also working for me while I'm still saving in dollar. So I feel like what they have to do is simply to just come together and collaborate. And Noble is already building the infrastructure where institutions, governments can come and build on that infrastructure they are building. So you can decide to issue Naira stablecoins, like CFA-backed stablecoins, alongside the dollar stablecoin. So they can actually coexist. Okay, so it's not something to fight about. It will take place, right? So like you said, whether we want it or not, it's to happen.
Thank you.
All right, great question. I think, let me go like this. I think that, of course, we'll have more usability. Now, let me use gold to explain what I want to say. So back in the days, gold has always been used to hold value, right? To hold value, right? So I think after World War II, most central banks started using like a good amount of their foreign reserves. They were keeping it in gold. And anytime you get to experience inflation, countries, they buy more gold, for stability. So gold has always been seen as what is used to, provide stability, but with little local usability. Now, part of the reason for that is because gold is a physical commodity, right? For you to use it to exchange, you might need to be carrying it. Now, why I think stablecoin is going to have more adoption is because stablecoin can play both roles. That it can still hold value because of its stability. We already have, I believe we are going to have more countries backing up part of their reserves in stablecoins in the coming years. But at the same time, we can also have that local usability, which is already happening. I think we'll have more of that in the next 5 years. We should have. That's the only explanation I can give. I may not be able to say, oh, it will be this much, but I'm sure it will go very high.
Thank you. And then,
So I cannot outrightly say that in 5 years for sure, but one thing off is the adoption is growing real quick, right? And so mathematics. Take for instance, if you are traveling to Kenya today, you have to change your naira to dollar, right? And when you get to Kenya, you have to change your dollar to Kenya shillings, right? And averagely, for every of those conversion, it costs between $5 to $10 to do every of those conversion, right? So one of the very good thing about stablecoin and what I feel is going to propel this adoption is the fact that it's cheaper. When you're doing transactions with stablecoins, it's cheaper, it's faster. Those two things, they are the most unique things about stablecoins. And these are the things that will drive adoptions, right? Many people want to send money. People in diaspora, they want to send money to their people back here at home. And, although there are some Web2 platforms that are facilitating this, they are making it. But, at the end of the day, still, stablecoin will still be cheaper. I like what Paycrest is doing right now. If Paycrest has CNGN, it has Kenya shilling. So if you're traveling to Kenya, for instance, you can easily use Paycrest to off-ramp your money, and it's way cheaper. And shout out to infrastructures like BlockRadar, Layer 2 blockchain like Base that is facilitating the adoption of local stablecoins in emerging markets. Ifalabs as well, that's what's one of the problems we're solving, providing data, price data for local stablecoins in emerging markets. Because, currently on Base, we have CNGN, we have Mexican stablecoin, you have Indonesia. What this is saying in essence is if I want to send money to Indonesia, for instance, I don't have to go through the USD corridor. I can easily do it on chain, which is faster and it's cheaper. It saves me a whole lot of headache. So to buttress everything I've said, sooner or later, it's going to explode.
thank you so much. A round of applause for our speakers. Can we take one question? All right, thank you so much, everyone, for listening. And can we take pictures, please? Yeah.